The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the big fetid swamp that is Hallmark and made-for-TV films. There's been a bit of a hiatus, and there's been something of a personnel change. Craig will no longer be appearing on this show, but I am Joe, as always, and we have some new and interesting co-hosts. She has been promoted from Last Orders to the main roster of the real Hallmark of Greatness. It's Berni.
At last, it's everything I've ever wanted.
Now you can recommend films and we can watch scary ones on Last Orders. And we are also joined by a very special guest back for her second visit with her own personal battle bowl. It's Katie.
My own personal battle pole? What's that from?
Do you remember the battle pole from, what was it? Like the Terminator film we watched? The pole that had the spinny saw on the end?
I don't remember at all.
God, that was ages ago.
It's been like a month, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll take it. I'll have it.
I couldn't think of anything. She had the guns that fired constantly, and then she had a battle pole.
Oh, yeah, she did. I don't have a good memory.
It's
yeah,
not
I remember
worth
the
it.
gun. No. Should we record that again?
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll keep it in. If you want to follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great and Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness, or send us an email at hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com. You're somewhere. I'll just yell at us in the street. So yeah, Anthony is still a functioning member of this, but his laptop has exploded due to too many Serbian brides that he's looking through on there at the moment, apparently. He's got a girlfriend. Yeah, so he's abandoned this. Yeah. He'll be back. They all come back. But we're going to take...
like Hallmark films.
Well, the thing is, right, he's never going to listen to this because he doesn't listen anyway, so I'll just tell you. She's American, but... Which is nice because Anthony likes American things.
PuPu platters.
He calls his car convoy. But I've been making out that she is from the Ukraine and he's got her over here on false pretenses. And he's not happy with that. Svetlana, she's called. She's not. Anyway, this week's film, picked by Berni in her first and probably only appearance on this show, 2015's Bridal Wars.
Wave.
Oh,
Or as Nigella would say, Wave.
Bridal Wave, sorry, not Bridal Wars, which is that other
Bridal
one.
Wave.
Bridal Wave.
Mm.
I didn't. Bear with me because I did no prep for this. The synopsis for the film: a woman planning for her wedding at a resort meets a charming local right before the ceremony and has to choose between the man who can care for her financially or the man who truly understands her. Nah, it's not, is it? It's
It
bad.
didn't imply that he was poor anyway, the man. The village man.
He was an architect and he could
He was an
afford to live in a hotel permanently, like Alan Partridge.
Yeah, but he drew sketches as well, so that was...
I hated him.
I hated everyone.
I hated everybody, yeah.
This would normally be where we have the guest synopsis and stuff, but I haven't done that because I forgot.
You can clip it in later.
I'm not used to being in charge of these things. This is not normally my area of expertise. But we'll just get right into the meat and potatoes of this film, or the quinoa and PuPu of this film.
This film has 3 jokes and they ran it throughout.
Oh, yes. We open up on the inside of a plastic surgery hospital consultancy. I don't know what the word for it is.
Not clear straight away, is it? But yeah, it's something.
Yes, and we meet our attractive 30-something nurse, Georgie Dwyer.
I was really excited because she's, in my books, pretty famous. She's been in Gilmore Girls and The Vampire Diaries.
Yep, she was also in 50 Shades.
Well, I don't like that one, but
50 Shades Freed, which is apparently is a film. I think
Okay.
it's the third or fourth one in the But yeah, and she is engaged to her boss and plastic surgeon, Philip Hamilton.
Yes.
And they're going away to get married, but he's invented a nose job procedure called the Hamilton.
The Hamilton nose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the Hamilton nose.
Yes. And they're getting married in a couple of days, but she's not 100% sure on this, as you would be.
He's also a bit pathetic, isn't he? He can't do anything himself. That's the kind of the thing. He couldn't possibly cope without her. Sorry.
Well, when you meet his mum later, I think you sort of come to understand that, don't you, a wee bit? Because his mum's a menace, like an actual known menace. She goes back, packs up, because they're going away to this resort to get married that
Mum has booked.
her mum has booked on like the cheap, because she keeps going on about like it being bridal
Groupons.
package 2 or something.
The Dulux package with the chocolate fountain.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Not the PuPu fountain.
We're giving away too much material.
It's fine. Like, I mean, that's not even a joke that they use. They just do quinoa and another one, and that's it. And they arrive at this thing, and her sister's there, and her fella.
Who they can't like not be touching each other at any time. They're always
Oh, they're creepy, aren't they? Like
Eminem.
oh yeah.
Yeah, they're constantly touching
like,
each other.
Her mum has put all her hope into this wedding because her sister eloped to get married. And I'm like, well, why is all the pressure being put on her?
And
then?
I think, didn't they couldn't get married or something like that? And she's kept her hair the exact same way ever since they got married, so that they could. She's got this like 80s Lego hair. Hasn't she?
That's a bit Mrs. Havishamy, isn't it? It's like,
If it works, keep it for 40 years.
but yeah, she's like, oh well, me and your father never had a cheap wedding on the military base, and your sister eloped, so we're putting all of our eggs into this basket. I'm like, it's a wedding. Does it really fucking matter at the end of the day how you do it? Surely
While
it's about...
insulting her, calling her an old maid, and that they thought she'd never get married and stuff.
I'd be like,
thanks,
you know
Mum.
what? Yeah, at least I'm doing this. I didn't
Stop
run away.
throwing a rice-a-roni at me.
What is rice-a-roni?
I don't know. Imagine it like semolina or something.
Right.
Macaroni with rice. That's all horrible. Cheese and rice.
Rice-a-roni is a pilaf like box food mix that consists of rice, vermicelli pasta, and seasonings. So I'm assuming it's like a pot noodle sort of thing.
Imagine pot noodle bopped at you.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. It's no, it's more like those, like a pasta and sauce,
Right.
but it's got rice in there. So I think
They do rice
is it
versions,
savory rice. Yeah, I couldn't think what the name for that was though. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind someone whipping a pot noodle at me, but yeah.
You only can catch it. Keep it. Eat it.
Only a regular size one though, not a king pot noodle. That would be dangerous. And then we also meet Luke, who has shown up for a job interview in sandals.
That's the joke, one running joke that goes throughout.
And his mate's like, look, I've put my neck on the line to get you this job. And he hands him some blueprints or something. And he's like, these are great blueprints.
These are as good as they ever were. And you're like, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
I mean, can you be a bad architect? I don't know. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm not moving back into the city because I'm a cool guy now. I do carpentry, because of course he fucking does.
I don't wear socks anymore. That's
Take that, the man. And he's like, well, you can't work here then. And he's like, I don't even know why I bothered coming in. This has been a waste of everyone's time. I'm sorry. And then he leaves. It adds nothing to the scene, but they bump into each other for the first time. And he's like, oh, I live in this resort. And
he lives right next to it, doesn't he? He doesn't live on it. He lives right next to it. It's been
No, this is the second time they meet. The first time they meet is where they're arguing over a bottle of aspirin because apparently the shop only has one bottle of aspirin.
Yeah, I
touch it at the same time, don't they? And then they get angry with each other.
Which is not the same as kissing in this film, because it normally means if you touch hands, it's normally like.
I was like, just go and ask the guy at the counter if there's an extra bottle of aspirin. Yeah.
Or just go, I'll go halves on it with you. Like,
which
I'm
is
not going to take.
In the end.
I'm not going to eat an entire bottle of aspirin, am I? Oh, if I was in this film, I probably would. Then wash it down with a lot of cheap vodka. But
it's just the most cliche meeting. You know immediately what's going to happen.
Meet cute, yeah.
Yeah. I hated it. It's immediately.
She's run away from her family, who are driving her onto this ferry. And he's getting onto this ferry as well, and he yells stuff at her as he goes past, and I'm like, what a fucking jerk. Like, you just met this woman and you're already being a knobhead to her. I hope you die in a car fire.
He thinks he's in. At this stage, he already thinks he's in. He doesn't realise that she's married or getting married.
He just thinks
he's creepy throughout it, though.
He's
to be
creepy.
fair.
Yeah, I'm Team Hamilton all the way through this. Thanks. Harvey's just brought me a packet of chocolate, I think.
Nice. Like Cadbury's finger airs.
So so they've met there, and then they get back on and go look at the wedding venue, don't they? At that stage,
yes.
And they get shown round.
They get rushed through. They get a free cocktail, because it's bridal package B with chocolate fountain.
I thought at that point we saw a bridal wave. I thought that's what it was going to be, is that like a bride would come and then another bride would come. And
well, that's sort of what it was. The resort had gone from being a destination to like a factory of churning these things out.
Yeah.
I've just now realised that bridal wave is a pun on tidal wave. Just now.
Yeah, but even having realised that, I still don't understand what that's got to do with the film.
It's near the coast.
I also thought like they couldn't have found a nicer day to do the shots. It just looked like a really depressing place. It didn't look nice.
Season, isn't it?
Towards the end.
Like a hotel in Manchester.
I was watching the other day, and you know that really sketchy hotel? It's Sasha's. It's up the back of like Piccadilly. It's got the white building, and it looks they were filming in there, and I was like, oh, it's horrible in there. It's
horror movie.
Yeah, no, it was Saran Jones. Anyway, yeah, and they're like, this is where the pool area is. This is where your reception will be. You get like 5 minutes to get married, and then you're off, and we get the next ones in. And I was like, this, okay, whatever. She's not happy about this. Is this when we meet Philip's mum?
Yeah, it's the bit where she like lingers nearby the party, like the wedding party, and she just kind of stands and watches. Isn't that stage?
Well, she's just like, she literally meets their parents and then goes, oh yeah, your daughter's like not good enough for my son. I'm like, right, you can fuck off away from my wedding then, because what you doing? No, Luke's hanging around when they're looking around. He's just like off to the left, offering criticism all the way through it. And I'm like, who are you? Please leave. He's in the bar trying to steal PuPu food.
Then makes so many comments, and I can't decide whether they know it's funny or not, because they mention it so often with PuPu.
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes,
but if we'd done a drinking game, I think we might have been a bit drunk on how many times he mentioned PuPu.
He was de-poo-pooed, he said.
Yep.
It was just over and over said it. I was like, this can't be coincidental. He must know.
But,
they must know this is funny.
Yeah, I think it's the only joke you can get away with.
Do they not say poo-poo in America?
That's poop, isn't it?
Poop, yeah.
So they don't know poo-poo is funny.
I mean, there's a what's the joke in? There's a Bloodhound Gang song where it's like, if your ass was a Chinese restaurant, I'd have the PuPu platter, and that's the only thing I've ever heard of it in.
That's
but
cool.
It's but yeah, because he lives nearby, he used to go in there and just eat the free food like a tramp.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, no, under new management rules, we can't just feed any sandal wearing waif that comes in. And he's like, this is an outrage. Is she called Emma? No, sorry.
He has one really rebelliously, doesn't he? He just like slips on in when he's not slips a poo-poo in and no one's watching.
Georgie's sitting down, drinking like 2 glasses of champagne to herself, which is goals. And he just sits down and starts talking to her again. And I'm like, sorry, I didn't ask you to sit down. This is creepy.
He just comes straight down and says you don't have bridal glow.
I'd be like, sorry, where are your socks? At least I can have PuPu. No PuPu for you.
But she doesn't eat the PuPu. She makes some kind of tower with them. I was like, what a waste of food.
She's making, doesn't she call it like, she does a pun on it. She calls it like the leaning tower of PuPu or something like that.
See, this is good. This is like carry on PuPu. But yeah, and he's like, oh well, I'll
trying to think of another
you.
one, and I can only think of PuPu Henge, which doesn't work.
Yeah, the PuPu-seum, like they call it, the Sydney PuPu House. There's loads you can do.
Not really.
No. Yeah, and he sits down, starts drinking her drink. Then her dad shows up, and he's like, "Who's this guy?"
No, sorry, before we move on, you've missed my favourite part of the whole film.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
So the whole favourite part of the whole film is where he says that, the ring doesn't fit properly, and he goes, "You know what they say? Ring too tight, you shouldn't get married." And that was it. And I was like, I thought it was going to rhyme.
Be better
it's
than
not
that.
Just right. It's just not right. Something like that.
That would have been better than no. Yeah.
You're just not going to get married. Like, you're really clutching at straws here.
So,
anyway, that was my favourite bit. It peaked there, and then
brilliant.
It was, yeah. Her dad sits down. He's like, who's this guy? Let's be friends with him and invite him to everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
they had a natural connection, didn't they? He immediately felt he was like his son. They had like an in-joke about halibut for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he wanted to go fishing on the day before his daughter's wedding. He's like, I'm going to go fishing because dads in Hallmark films are terrible people, like constantly. And he's like, oh, I've got a secret spot where you can fish all this halibut.
Halibut City, he calls it.
Down in
I mean,
Halabad City.
his naming thing is not very good. His rhymes are not tight. And he's like, oh, come to the practice wedding.
I don't.
Yeah,
Does
come
he
to
get
the
invited
rehearsal.
there?
Yeah. Because they're having like
He
a
does.
meal beforehand, and then there's a practice wedding. And he goes to the meal, and they're like, who is this random dude? Because Philip Hamilton hasn't shown up yet because he's working.
Because he's
Is it
giving someone a Hamilton.
Oh, is it a
notice.
conference?
Is it a conference? He's on a because he is the key nose speaker.
That's good though, isn't it? That's good.
Anyway, on jokes, her dad works in appliances,
Yes, this is a great.
and
joke.
she's called Georgie Dwyer, isn't she?
Mm.
So his company is called Washers and Dwyers.
It was good, that one.
Oh, come on, that's good.
It's better than jokes about PuPu, to be honest.
Is it though?
Is it?
Is it? So they have this wedding meal thing, and he's there, and her mum's there, and his mum's there, and his mum's horrible. She's just like, what was it? I want the thing, no butter, no oil. I just spit in it.
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
you?
didn't see the salmon on it at the buffet. Well, that's because there wasn't any.
Yeah, in the same
Oh,
way that
God.
I don't go to McDonald's and go, why is there not a whole roast chicken available to me? Because it just isn't, is it? You plum. I hated her the most, I think, out of all of these deplorable people, just because she was so privileged white lady sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is
I
this
can
where
say-
she presents her with a wedding dress and goes, "This is your dress"?
Yeah,
Or is
she,
that later?
yeah, she gets a waiter to bring it over. I'm like, that's not my job. I just spilled a load of marinara sauce on it or something, rubbed salmon into it actively. And she's like, oh, I've brought you this Vera Wang dress. You know what they say? Vera Wang. Everyone's got sayings. Vera Wang lets it hang.
Well, the only Vera Wang saying I know is from Bridal Wars, where she says, "You don't alter Vera, you alter yourself to fit
It's a bit
Vera."
there, yeah.
Oh.
And she's
Well,
like,
'cause
oh,
she
it's
actually bought the wrong size dress. Like she just
She did.
never met this woman and just thought it's a size 2. And
Yeah.
then
I'm sure you'll fit into it. And I'm like, not to be horrible to the lady who plays Georgie, but she's quite thin anyway, isn't she? Like she'd fit into a 2, which is like a 6 here, I think, isn't it? I don't know. American dress sizes are mental. But and then her mum goes, no, you're going to wear my wedding dress because it's a tradition that handed down over one generation.
Yeah, because she didn't have a wedding and sister eloped, so
Yeah. And
you're
she's like-
forced to wear this crochet wedding dress.
But she's like, but it's made of like crinoline and stuff. And she's like, I don't care. It's my mum's wedding dress. And she's like, you're wearing Vera Wang. Here, waiter, take this away. And I'd be like, sorry, I'm bringing you food. I'm not a skivvy. I hated her. She goes to her room. There's the bridal package, which is like a pineapple, a bottle of wine, and a photo frame.
The
Nothing
wine
in
glass
it.
with the wrong name on.
That was fun. And she's phoning him up, and he's like, oh, I have to go and do some more talking now. And she's like, I'll wear your mum's dress, but like, it's not a promising start, is it really? And then they have this pretend wedding. And this was the bit I didn't understand, because they literally come in, he makes them stand at the front. Luke has to fill in, because...
I think we've skipped the bit where they run away
Possibly.
for the evening, for the day.
Oh, yes, because mother-in-law's like, well, come on, we'll
Oh.
get your dress fitted, and she just runs away with this Luke who's been like stalking her heavily.
She like goes out clearly intending to go get fitted, and then she just hides for no reason.
She
at the
does.
last
She does some
second.
quality hiding behind cars, and then just gets into a random truck that Luke just so happens to be driving. Luckily, he's not a murderer or like a
Weird.
sex predator.
Not one of these people are nice people.
No.
No, Luke's like Georgie's dad's all right. I quite liked him.
But he's a Hallmark dad. They're all the same.
Yeah, he's there to espouse one piece of wisdom and then go to Halibut City. So yeah, he goes, oh well, I'm doing some errands, so you'll have to come with me. And then he drives us to like the middle of nowhere, and then just dumps this bench. And I'm like, that's not an errand. That's fly tipping.
And then they've done their bench, and then she realizes, I don't know what a horrible time she is, and she looks sad, and he goes, "Oh, you look sad, blueberries."
Yeah.
And then
Then he stabs his foot 'cause he's wearing flip-flops, and she rips his t-shirt to wrap
Oh,
his
that's
foot.
right.
Which is not the right way. She's supposed to rip her shirt just a little bit, so it's like sexy. That's how it normally works in films, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure later on, is she crying or something? And he rips more of his t-shirt to make her a
Ah.
handkerchief.
Yeah, what a dude.
Oh yeah, because then they throw blueberries at each other instead of eating the blueberries. They then throw them at each other.
What a waste. Typical. But he said this area was supposed to be developed for weddings as it's more private. And there's like a big wooden statue of an elder god that he's carved, which...
Oh, I thought it was like a totem pole.
Yeah, but
that's right.
he was like, oh, it's Utenge or something. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. And he's like, yeah,
this is after his van mysteriously ran out of battery.
Which he knew was going to happen because he's literally going to murder her.
No and then they have to take a shortcut home, and it's longer than the ordinary way.
Yeah.
He's just fucking weird.
He's Stockholm Syndrome in her.
Yeah, well then Philip rings her, FaceTimes her when she gets a signal, and he's like, who's that guy? And he's like fine with it, that she's hanging around with this random man the day before their wedding.
He doesn't really love her, that's why he doesn't mind.
No, but yeah.
He doesn't care. Hang out with who you want, you skanks.
Yeah. Just make sure my diary's up to date. Pick up my dry cleaning. Yeah, so then they get back and they have to have a wash because they're full of blueberry juice and sweat. And
they do like, almost kiss before this, don't they? And it's like the least sexual chemistry I've ever seen in a kiss.
It's like
he just like leans over into her, and she's like
2 bits of MDF rubbing against each other. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So then they go do the rehearsal.
The rehearsal thing where he literally goes, right, you come up here, you say this, you'll have to stand in for the groom, and he's like, okay.
But it implies, and I don't know if I got this right, it implies that that's a service they could have got from somewhere else. It's like, oh, we need a stand-in, and it's like, oh, we'll go get one. And he's like, no, I'll be the stand-in.
Yeah, like, there's just one dude on staff in a tuxedo, in case of emergency, break glass. The whole thing is done in like 3 minutes. Like this whole practice wedding thing is just like, you stand up here, you say the words, you kiss, you go. And I'm like,
every wedding you've ever seen, you just do that.
I could have put it on a pamphlet, that mate, and saved us all a bit of time and effort. I could be upstairs watching Wheel of Fortune.
I'm so glad I had my stand-in. Oh, and he has a ring ready to give to her, and actually puts it on the finger.
The wooden ring that fits. It's not too tight.
Oh,
remember,
you know what they say?
It's too tight. Don't get married.
I was going to say Shepherd's Delight.
Even that's better, and it rhymes. But yeah, this happens, and then they're like, he's like, oh, you forgot to say you can kiss the bride, and everyone's like, oh, what a cad. I'm like, fuck this guy.
In my notes, I've just noticed that at this point, I've just put, I can't bear this at this point of the film. I hate this so much.
No, not one person has stood up and gone, who is this man? Why are we all being really friendly with him? He's going to murder her.
Well, the dad has like secret handshakes already with him.
Yeah, I told you that's the handshake to Halibut City.
Secret handshake to get in.
It's been 2 days.
Yeah, it's been 2 days, but she's not happy with him. And like, doesn't she have a breakdown to Luke and says like she feels like a terrible bride because she's not.
Because she is.
She's not enjoying any of this. She's not feeling it.
Because she's hanging around with a bloke who's not going to be her husband.
And his big wooden cock ring.
She's also got that kind of the cliche, oh, I'm not like the other girls. I'm not into weddings sort of thing as well, hasn't she?
But she clearly is.
She clearly is, but she's pretending that I'm not like the other girls. I'm cool. I'm a cool girl. Yeah.
I think then Dr. Hamilton arrives.
Yes.
No, don't they go for a walk the next morning?
They go for a walk, and it ends up being where his house is or where his apartment is, and he just doesn't even care. Just stands and stares at them from the window. Doesn't even like peek round the corner. He just is in the middle of the window staring at them.
Pants down. Yeah.
And Philip is quite rightly like, who is that man staring at us?
But instead of going, hang on, that's that guy that abducted you yesterday. He goes and is like, oh, I see you've had a break in your nose. I can fix that for you. And I'm like, this man is such a wet wipe. Like,
yeah,
this dude's trying to plough your missus, and you're offering him free cosmetic surgery. I
think that's to prove that that's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then she finds his sketches, Luke's sketches, and she's like, oh, he's in such a nice man. It's like, no.
Oh, he's done a picture of her.
Yeah.
And she's not in a dune buggy or anything like a caricature, like a proper drawing.
Yeah.
I just, So yeah, she goes back with Doctor, and they're both not into it. And I didn't understand this because, like, don't they? Isn't this where they have the talk?
Yeah, because she wakes up and he's saying on the phone that he's got to wrap something up this afternoon, and then he'll come in, and she's like, it's our wedding. It's not like a meeting.
Also, if they're getting married that day, he's not supposed to see her anyway. Remember the tradition? See us the bride. Don't get married. And she's like, listen, lady, this is terrible. We're not good together. But the only reason we're together is because we work in the same office. And he's like,
we don't have the story. That's the thing as well, isn't it?
I mean, what's your other story? Abduction
Despite
and
not
blueberries.
caring about weddings or anything like that, she's then bothered that she doesn't have a good story to tell, but then realizes that she does have a good story to tell with Mr. Stalker.
Luke, yeah.
Luke.
So they both sort of go, well, we'll still be friends, but we won't get married.
You'll still come to work on Monday. Yeah. Good. All right.
And I was like, this was all right. Because it's like, instead of her like not showing up at the altar or whatever, they both just like adults go, yeah, this isn't good for either of us. And they just walk away. And I was like, I've never seen this in a Hallmark film before. People being adult and not leaving it to the last minute.
It's very grown up.
And then like her sister has a word with her and is like, yeah, you need to go and speak to Luke because clearly you're down with that, aren't you? And she's like, oh, okay. She gets there and it's got a for sale sign on it.
I don't remember at this stage what happened. I think my brain had just blocked
What's
this
got a
film
for sale
out.
sign on?
She goes back to Luke's cottage to declare her love for him, doesn't she? And it's got like a for sale sign on it. No?
No.
I watched the version on YouTube, so maybe I got a different version because mine was slightly longer than the...
You got an alternate version.
It's not important.
It might have cut that out then on the Prime version because
It's literally a scene where she gets there and it's got a for sale sign on it and it's like he's not there anymore.
No, he's on the bench with that bloke he was showing his drawings to before.
He's negotiating for free poo-poos at this stage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the guy from the hotel said like, oh, you left your drawings in the PuPu bar. We want to hire you for something. Caricature work down the docks.
Is he not saying that he don't want the wedding conveyor belt? He wants something special. He wants that weird totem pole area that he murdered many women in.
He says that they should make... I thought this is very like... what's the opposite of optimistic? Where he says, we should make memories that last longer than the marriage.
Yeah, he was very down on marriage, wasn't he? Yeah, he was very sort of... And he's like, all right, we're going to take it back to how it used to be, even though we've only recently turned it into this sort of churn them out wedding thing. And so he's like, sweet, yeah, you have to give me a couple of weeks to just dig some things up and throw them into the ocean, way down with like a car engine.
Yeah, and then he does so then it's the next bit is I'll get there in the end. They decide that the mom's going to get married instead.
Yeah.
They've already got a dress.
She's got the dress. She fits into it. She's got her helmet hair ready. That's the same in every situation. So, and it is a very 80s dress and 80s sort of shawl.
It looked crocheted. The top part looked like it was crocheted. Yeah. And I was shocked that it fit her after 36 years because my wedding dress don't fit me now.
Yeah,
I would have been married 9.
You discovered fair cheese though, didn't you? Like...
There's no PuPu bar in my house.
You've got a downstairs PuPu bar as well. So they get married in this bit. Luke comes running in proper Mrs. Bouvier sort of way. And everyone turns around. It's The Simpsons. I know, Mrs. Robinson. But and everyone turns around and like you'd clearly be able to tell it wasn't her because you're going.
No, he said that.
That's not Georgina's hair because it's not a helmet. And he just sits down and no one goes prick at any point to him.
Everyone's just like, we all expected you to do that. Just come and sit down and watch the wedding.
And then like the maitre d' guy is like, hurry up, you've got 2 seconds left to get married before the next party come in. I was like, fuck, they get married.
And then the evil mother-in-law,
actual mother,
isn't Philip's mum, is at their wedding next year later. Why? She hated her, so why is she at the wedding? And the wedding location's terrible as well. The new one.
No, that's where they first had their first blueberry fight.
That's the historic grotto, is what I've named it. I don't know why.
That's the murder.
The historic grotto was where his house was, so it was right next to the hotel. The site was something different again.
No,
it's terrible.
But Philip's there with his girlfriend with the broken nose because obviously he's giving her a nose job. Em and Em are pregnant and still touching each other. They're having popcorn kernels thrown at them this time instead of quinoa, it looked like.
Popcorn must be the new thing after the quinoa because they were obsessed with making that joke. Oh, was there a joke about popcorn? I can't remember.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, they're getting married at like his murder grove. And then, that's like literally the film ends. And I was like,
It cuts back to the wicker basket.
Wicker basket with their photo in it, so
In the
implying that
frame.
their photo is now part of the wedding package.
everyone gets that weird.
Everyone gets a photo.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I just thought, wow, they printed that really quick to stick in that frame.
No, every part. Like when you buy a photo frame, it's always got a picture of a weird kid in it.
Yeah, yeah, that's that.
Or it's a curse. And like whoever gets married in the Murder Grove gets trapped in a photograph forever until someone else gets married. I don't know. It would have been more interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
really?
it would.
If it was like a
That
Tales of
could
the
be the
Unexpected.
sequel.
There's no sequel to this. And that's it. I'm going to say I hated this.
I hate it so much. I had to
with a
take a
passion.
break. I think after I put that thing I said earlier, where I said I've literally just put in my notes, I can't bear this. I was like, I need a break. I need to take half an hour and go do something else.
I have a lot of that
Terrible.
in my notes of I hate this. Why do I do this to myself?
I watched it twice because I just watched it because I often watch films on Hallmarky films on Prime, and then I was like, "Oh, this one," and then I had to watch it again and make notes.
Make notes on it. This is getting a 4 from me out of 10. There's
As
no
high as a
Golden
4?
Fabios on the main roster, Berni.
No, I know. I was just thinking it was a good idea, but I didn't like any of the characters. So
Yes, they were all horrible. But there was some nice location shots. There was the running PuPu joke, which I mean, I'm a 40-year-old
You're a PuPu
man
guy.
who still laughs like a toddler at PuPu jokes because it's funny.
There was the quinoa jokes. Instead of throwing the rice, you throw the quinoa.
And
There
we
was
got
the fact Luke didn't have shoes. That was a running joke.
And we got to take a trip to Halibut City.
We did.
And my favourite thing, if it rings too tight,
Oh,
you shouldn't get married.
Take me down to Halibut City, where the hooks are sharp and the fish smell fishy. There you go, that works.
No, that rhymes. We can't have that.
Ah, shite.
That's too good for this film.
I'm going to give it a 3.2.
I
I think these are too high. I'm going to give it 2.
mean,
Offensively bad.
I don't have the other scores to hand, but I think the lowest score we ever gave was to Breaking Legs, which was so much worse than this. At least this was short. It was like an hour and 20. So be thankful for that. But yeah, other than that, it's time for... I haven't changed the jingle, have I, like a dickhead? We're going to keep calling it Craig Facts in his memory. He's not dead.
Just turned into a bit of an ass.
He's dead to me. So, yeah, 2015's Bridal Wave, we had Arielle Kebbel as Georgie Dwyer, who is a double CSI, CSI Miami and CSI regular. And she's also been in Law & Order SVU. So that's
Oh,
fun.
nice.
And she had a 9-episode run in Gilmore Girls, which Katie said earlier, which was 50 Shades Freed, which is a film that was also made. And she was also in a film that I quite want to call Lincoln Rhyme, Hunt for the Bone Collector, which is probably not as rude as I think
I thought it was going to be something about rapping, like rhyming.
Nope.
No?
I don't know what it is, but I might find it and see if it's worth watching on Last Orders. We had Andrew W. Walker as Luke Griggs, who has is a 2 for CSI as well.
The same
CSI,
two?
CSI Miami and CSI New York.
Oh, New York's a rubbish one.
Also starred in the 1997 film Laserhawk, which sounds amazing.
That's one for Last Orders, isn't it?
But now appears to be stuck in a Christmas Hallmark rut with such classics as Christmas Tree Lane, My Christmas Family Tree, or a tree-based Christmas, I think.
Well, he has got that grotto.
But also stars in A Bride for Christmas with Arielle Kebbel, so they have previous history. So you'd think there'd be more chemistry between them.
But yeah.
But no, nothing. He's also in a film called Appetite for Love, which I think we've covered on Hallmark before.
Is that where she danced on the cornflakes?
Possibly, but he's got such a generic face that it's like a pink balloon on a suit. It may as well not exist. But yes, David Hyde Jones, Philip Hamilton, was in A Cookie Cutter Christmas, which we have definitely done.
Yeah.
And was also in a show called Deborah, as well as Judging Amy and Naked Josh. So that's a fun party to go to, isn't it?
Don't know why you're judging Amy when Josh stood over there in both.
In the nude. The mum, Jacqueline Smith. I knew her face.
Charlie's Angels.
One of the original Charlie's Angels. And
Which mum?
The evil mum. Not
Evil
Helmet
mum.
Mum. Evil mum. Yeah, so she was
What
she was in the original 1970s with Farrah Fawcett and the other one. She was one of the original Angels. So she was in that, and then she's in this. And I'm like...
Must have run out of...
It's easy money. It's got to be shot in about 2 weeks. This, hasn't it? She was also in a made-for-TV film in 1972 called Probe! ! So that looks like a lot of fun as well. Directed by Michael Scott. No, not that one.
Michael Scott.
Who is famous only for a film called The Soul Collector, which I got excited for because I thought it was the one with Robert Zadarin with the massive chin, but it's not. So that was a bit sad. And it was renamed Cosi Sposi in Italy, which means almost married, and Ein Brautgam Voseil in Germany, which is one groom too many.
Well, that sounds better already, isn't it?
See, they're more fun. I couldn't find out the budget and shit of this because I really don't care. I know that it was poor, weren't it? Like, it was bad, but we'll move on.
All the budget went on Lexi from the Vampire Diaries, and that was it.
And 50 Shades Freed and bloody Vampire Diaries. But we'll move on to Barney's review section.
My first visit to dove.org.
Yes, boy.
Yes. So, Katie, do you know what dove.org is?
I have no idea now.
So is it a Christian review
site? Christian review site. Dove.org is where it's just got a normal scoring system. And what's the other one where it's like -4 to +4, which is a bizarre. I'll go back to an old episode and find it.
Well, saying that, on this it had no positives and 4 negatives.
Oh la la.
Yeah, so I was a bit confused by it.
Dove.org judges things on
Christian values,
nudity, and
family.
One of them films got marked down because a woman's arm was clearly visible. And you're like, come on, mate! If you're getting turned on by an arm, then you clearly messed up somewhere down the line, haven't you? What's Dove.org got to say?
So it gave it a -4. Sex, couples kiss. For drugs, there was drinking wine and champagne with meals.
Jesus loved to drink.
Nudity, mild cleavage.
Oh, mate.
And other, woman is very rude to others, which will obviously be the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So it didn't rate it very high.
But did it not say suitable for children over 9?
I don't know. I said it was my first forage into it, and I don't think I did it right. So next time I'll kind of know what
I'm poke around in it. But yeah, it doesn't. Mild cleavage ain't so.
It was the mild cleavage that made me giggle.
So it's so weird. Other reviews?
I've got a good one and a bad one. Huggy Bear gave it 7 out of 10.
Antonio Fargas?
I agree. Another great Hallmark rom-com. I didn't know the groom's mother was, how do you say it, Jacqueline Smith.
Jacqueline Smith.
Yeah, one of the original Charlie's Angels. I wish I would have recognised her when I was watching this movie. And I feel like saying, why would that have changed your opinion of the film?
Were you expecting her to roundhouse kick someone at some point?
The guy who played Luke is cute too. My favourite part of this movie is when the bride said to her groom, "We don't have what most people who are in love have." I knew she meant romance and flame. Well, he was married to his profession. Thanks, Hallmark, for a cute flip.
Jesus Christ. That was your favourite moment of the film?
Yeah.
Not the PuPu jokes, not the quinoa-based antics.
No, but I feel like if she'd have recognised it was her from Charlie's Angels, she might have given it a 10 out of 10.
I automatically go up a score in films if I recognise someone in it from another film.
And then Casey Bones.
Nice, I like it.
Gave it a 3 out of 10. Watch with the sound off. And then she says contains spoilers. So, the good. The scenery is wonderful and I'd like to see it in person. The bad. Pretty much everything else. If you couldn't figure out the ending in the first 10 minutes, you've never seen one of these insipid Hallmark movies. Every character was a caricature. The work-possessed fiancé, the evil mother-in-law, the perky heroine at odds with her future, the too-good-to-be-true hero, her soulmate, naturally, and the cutesy mom and pop. And all of this overlaid with non-stop, constant, loud, cutesy music. I didn't notice the music.
There was one bit of music in it where they'd clearly licensed music because it was a proper song, but the rest of it was all standard Hallmark, creeping about music like.
There isn't 5 minutes of this flop that had silence in it. Hasn't anyone of Hallmark heard the expression, less is more? This is 2 hours of my life I will never get back. What a waste.
2 hours? Did you watch it 1.5 times?
You probably watched the one on YouTube that had extra features.
Sorry, he's annoyed that there wasn't silence in it. It's not
Yeah.
fucking Nosferatu. Like, if I'm watching a film, I want stuff to be happening, not just everyone to go, shh, can't, no. Oh, man, Huggy Bear was well better than Casey Bones.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good, accurate review, though.
I didn't really notice the music being too loud. But yeah, I mean,
No,
it's
I didn't.
standard Hallmark fare, but
Yeah,
just
exactly.
not done well, sadly. Want to avoid that one, I think. That's it.
It's because Prime recommended it to me. It knows what I likes.
It's a Hallmark film. There's nothing wrong with it. Oh, there's the Soul Collector. Banished to Earth for a month to learn compassion, an angel becomes very attached to a family as he experiences new feelings and emotions, and then collects their souls, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you, Dave, for showing up once again.
No problem.
Barney, your first foray into the main roster. It's exciting, isn't it? We shall see. I don't know how we end this either. I don't normally have to do this either. In conclusion, that was it. That was thingy. Your favourite lines from the film?
If the ring's too tight,
you must acquit.
you must collect their souls.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Probably very nice, but just silly named.